Welcome to episode 53 of the David and Hillary Show. Here in the South, we have been going through what we like to call the Ice-Pocalypse of 2026.
We definitely have, and it's really been something. We're going to share some of our experiences through photos of Ice-Pocalypse, and you'll see that in our show and tell segment.
We are also continuing our conversation on AI. This week, we are focusing on some of the negative aspects of AI and some of the fears that people have about it.
That's right. And since we are one of the fortunate ones in Middle Tennessee to still have electricity,
Yes.
thank you, Lord, we should probably get recording.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, episode 53, or as I like to think of it, episode 1 of year 2.
Okay, that's a little more complicated. I think I'm going to go with 53.
Yeah, whatever works for you, babe.
Yeah.
But this is the first episode of our second year of the
is.
podcast. It's
Yes.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, we did it. Congratulations.
Yeah,
And we're still doing
congratulations
this.
to you. I know.
Yeah,
we're
we're not
still going to
quitting.
be doing it.
That's right.
Well, Ice-Pocalypse 2026, they were forecasting this big weather event, and I think when they forecasted it, I heard what they said and the way that they said it, and I assumed it was going to be something kind of different than what it was.
Okay.
What actually happened was we got some snow, and then we got freezing rain, and then we got rain, and then it got really, really cold.
To be fair, every time I opened the weather app, it was a little different. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was always bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always.
And what
It
we
was
got,
bad.
what we got wasn't good.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're fine, and everyone right around us and the people that we're closest to are fine, and we're very, very thankful
Yeah.
for that. But a lot of people have been out of power and have had damage to their property. A lot of trees have broken and fallen under the weight of the ice, and some of them have fallen on people's cars and homes, and it's not great. So
And even though nothing really bad happened, there was just that stretch of time where you were just waiting. Just every time you would hear something or a limb coming down, you think, oh,
Yeah.
what did it hit? We heard a lot of
well,
noises.
it's kind of a weird noise because when the wind blows and all of the branches hit each other, it's not really a wind chime effect. It's kind of a crackle effect, but
Yeah.
it's just a unique noise that you don't hear any other time. And our neighbor characterized it when early on in the freezing process. You know, a lot of trees probably need to be pruned more often than they are, and there's a lot of dead in a lot of trees, especially older trees, and you don't really think about it. A lot of times you don't notice it, but what's happening is all these trees, the weak spots, they can't handle the extra weight with the ice. And so they bend and they bend and they bend, and then they break, and when they break, it makes a really loud pop, almost like gunfire. And then you hear as it comes down, and then you hope you don't hear the sound of crushing metal or hitting someone's roof or whatever. And sometimes even when they just hit the ground, it makes a big kind of a boom, a deep boom sound.
Yeah.
So it's just very disconcerting because it can happen anywhere at any time, and everything's just covered by ice, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, even like last night, we were in different parts of the houses, and I thought you ran into something, or like a chair hit something funny, and I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And you're like, "I thought that noise was you." I'm like, "Nope." And I even checked to see if, because I had set up a step stool, I thought maybe the ladder fell. It was a big bang.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, it was neither one of us. So outside we went to go look and see, and we did find another limb that we thought, okay, that was probably it.
Between our house and the neighbor's house, that was
Yeah,
good
but no damage
sized and
again.
hit the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been very, very thankful that no damage has happened with all these limbs falling. So
Right. Well, pictures that we promised. A lot of these are kind of documentary photos. Some of them are somewhat artistic. I'm always hoping to get artistic photos, but this first one is just, we're landscapers, and this trailer we use a lot in our business, and it's not going anywhere right away.
Yeah.
And we didn't have much in it, but even the couple sticks that were there, I mean, they're just frozen in like this much ice to
Yeah.
the, yeah. So Here's you, Hillary, of course, with the one big limb that came down, where there were a couple medium to large limbs that came down from some of our neighbors' trees, and some of those spilled into our yard, and we're going to help her clean up once we can. This is one of the things too with these events that you have to wait
Right.
for everything to thaw and for the conditions to be workable, and you can't just be under a tree that's still dropping limbs trying to clean up
Right.
limbs, because you could get hit, you could
Yeah.
get really hurt. So
It's going to be a few days still.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that limb is bigger than it looks, but thankfully it just fell in the yard. So
Yeah.
thankful for that. Here's our pond. This was early on where, there's snow and ice all around the pond. We turned off the waterfalls and just had aerators bubbling in and keeping a hole open in the ice. I didn't get a picture later, but the ice kind of started from the edges and shrank down. The part that was not frozen got smaller and smaller, but we've still got a hole that's probably 2 feet across, and that's good. That's good for the fish. Here is what's left of our clematis from last year. We didn't clear the vines off. We'll probably do that in the spring, but yeah, on our pyramid trellis. And then we have bird feeders. We have several bird feeders throughout the yard, but here are a couple of them with just icicles everywhere. It's just crazy.
Are you going to talk about the kitty cat tracks there?
Oh, kitty cat
Yeah.
tracks in the lower right corner. We have about 4 or 5 cats in the neighborhood that I'm guessing belong to someone, and
Yeah.
they're outdoor cats. I don't know that they're just feral. At least a couple of them have collars, but we don't know who they belong to. They love to come to our yard and get
They hunt,
drinks.
yeah. They
Get
hunt
drinks out
here.
of the pond, and then they hunt.
Yep.
And so it looks like one of them was around and made tracks. Here's one of our landscape lights and some of the edging that we've put in place. Just everything covered by snow and ice. And then we did get out today and take a trip. These are all cell phone pics, and the quality is not amazing. It's also the ice when the sun comes out is really beautiful. Someone said it's beautiful and terrifying.
Yeah.
Which I
It's
think
like-
is true.
It's like diamonds sparkling.
It
When
really
the sun
is.
hits them, it's incredibly beautiful.
At one point, I said, Hillary, somebody blinged all the trees. That's what it looks like. This picture doesn't do it justice, but you can kind of tell. Every branch of every tree is just covered with ice. And then this is a crepe myrtle tree in our yard, kind of the lower portion. It's just crazy the way the ice is over everything. This is our mulberry tree that's kind of on the edge of our property. We're looking across our neighbor's yard and our other neighbor's big pole barn that he's got back there. This is a honeysuckle vine. And what's weird is we were having really mild temperatures for January.
Right.
Really mild. I'll show you one more picture at the end. Something else that had, but we were actually getting blooms on the honeysuckle, and then
I feel so bad when the plants get confused.
I mean, it's just I don't know what to do besides laugh. It's crazy.
Yeah. What are you going to tell them?
So-
No, stop blooming.
Yeah. This is our dogwood tree. The dogwoods set blooms in the fall for the next spring, and now they're completely encased in ice.
But they should be okay.
I think they'll be okay. Then this is another crepe myrtle, but these are the seed pods that are left over from last year on the crepe myrtle tree. And when we went into town, you can kind of tell the difference. It was sunny today when we went into town and got these other pictures are from yesterday, which was very cloudy. Mm-hmm. But these are seed pods on another crepe myrtle, but they look pretty cool with the ice hanging off of them and the sun hitting them.
Yeah.
And this is the one I referred to a minute ago. The daffodils were like, oh, I mean, it's like 60 degrees in January.
let's go, guys.
Let's go. It's
Wake
obviously time.
Yeah.
And then Mother Nature said, psych.
Yeah. I tried to tell them, no, stop.
Crazy.
It's January. They didn't listen.
No, I know. Well, and this is a single bud off of our Mandarin Lights azalea. This is another plant that flowers that sets buds in the fall, and they go all the way through winter, and it's completely encased in ice.
I love the crackle
Yeah,
on the outside. It's
I mean
really
it's
beautiful.
a pretty cool shot. We just hope that we still get good blooms with
Yeah.
everything this spring. We'll have to be patient
We'll
and see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's our show and tell, Ice-Pocalypse 2026. And we hope that wherever you are, you're safe and warm in this crazy winter weather.
Yeah. Because we're not done.
We're not done.
We're not done. Yeah.
Well, we have been talking about artificial intelligence, AI.
Yeah.
And 2 episodes ago, we did an introductory episode. We
Yes.
talked about the history of AI and kind of how we got to where we are today.
Yep. And then episode 52, then we started talking about some of the positive ways that people are incorporating AI into like their hobbies, their jobs, just kind of like their regular everyday life in ways that are
Yeah.
really positive and helpful. And
Right.
so, yeah. So here we are.
We did get a comment. We want to read the comment?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And this, I don't know who this is. I like their name, Cheese Lord 8236.
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody named that, but they actually said, please don't use AI for image generation. It's trained on stolen work. Just like how you were talking about the Holy Spirit, you wouldn't want your pastor to use AI for a sermon. So why would you want something so human, art, to be created by something so unnatural? I think that's exactly the kind of questions that people are going to have more and more
Right.
as AI becomes so commonplace.
How should we use it? How should we not use it? Where are the lines? What are the barriers and restrictions that we should put in place for it? Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that's one of the main concerns people have is that it's going to move so fast, we're not going to be able to keep up with governing it.
Right.
And not that it's doing its own things, but that people are using it to do things that we can't decide yet. Is that allowed?
Right.
Is that not allowed? Is that okay? Is that not ethical? How do we govern what we've created?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that we're going to go more to the negative on this episode. I think you'll find it interesting. What is negative about AI? What are people's fears about AI? And as if you watch our podcast on a regular basis, you know that we love movies.
we do.
We actually drove over to the theater while we were in town today because when we look at the website, the app, to see what movies are showing when, it keeps going, we're sorry, but the theater's closed due to bad weather. And I just wanted to know, like, is the parking lot passable? Is like when do we think they're gonna be opening? And it's it's probably gonna be another day or two. But
Yeah.
But that said, we have kind of gone back and watched a couple movies that we thought were relative to some negative uses for artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And
As
so-
promised, we did do the famous iRobot.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it, and that's where we're going on this episode. There's a lot of information really under this subtopic, and I'm not sure we're going to get to all of it. So
That's okay.
Probably
we've
be-
got time. We've got all year.
we're just barely into year
That's
2
right.
of the podcast.
Year
so
2, episode 1.
That's right. Well, let's dive in. Our first topic that we want to hit with regards to AI is jobs and the economy.
Yeah.
This is a big one. I hear people talking about it a lot.
I was going to say, I feel like this is the one you hear the most. Do you think that's true? Like,
In terms of negative, yeah, probably.
yes. Yeah. People are afraid. And I think with good reason,
Yeah.
because we don't know. We don't know how will this affect everybody. We can't see into the future to say, oh, don't worry about it, or you should worry about this.
Well, as I said on the episode where we talked about the history of AI and computers up to this point in the history of the world, I'm not great at predicting the future. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't think anybody truly knows, but there are a lot of doomsayers that have a lot of things that they're wanting to be cautious about. But with regards to jobs in the economy, let's kind of look at that a little bit.
Okay.
I think some of the main fears that people have are that AI will just replace a lot of jobs
Right.
that humans are doing now, and they'll do that by doing jobs faster, better, cheaper than humans can do it.
Well, and if you don't have a job,
Yeah,
you can't make a living. Like this is a
right.
legitimate fear that people could have. You've got to be able to pay your mortgage. You've got to be able to buy your food. You've got to pay for the electricity if you're fortunate to have it on.
That's right.
But yeah,
That's right.
this is a really legitimate question. What will my job go away? Will my children have to train differently? How could you possibly know how to train
Right.
for that?
Well,
So
just because sometimes I like to be Captain Obvious, let me just spell it out. If an employer can get AI to do what you do faster and cheaper and maybe even better, no offense, but that's what people are saying, then why do they need you? And so they just fire you. But maybe you're doing a particular type of work that you've always done and you're not sure what else to do. Then what do you do?
yeah,
The fear is that there will be a lot of people, especially with lower level jobs, that their jobs just won't exist anymore in
Yeah.
terms of humans doing them, and you won't be able to make a living. You, like Hillary just said, you won't be able to pay your mortgage. You won't be able to get food. And what happens to these people and their families? What happens if the poverty rate skyrockets? The government is committed to a certain extent to take care of people. Now, that's a whole nother discussion. I'm not saying they do it perfectly, or, I really don't want to go there. But all things considered, if you lose your job through no fault of your own, you should be able to get unemployment. If you're in a really bad spot, you should be able to get food stamps. You should be able to get some kind of assistance. Well, sometimes people think that money just comes from nowhere. The government just prints more money, but that's not exactly how it works. When the government prints too much money, we have economic problems. If we have too many people out of work that are putting a drain on the system and not paying money back into it, if you're not making an income, you're not paying taxes, then that could just eventually crash the economy. Really bad things happened when the Depression happened back in 19, I guess it was the 30s. But I had that wrong in my head for a long time, so now I always question myself. But you've heard of the Great Depression, and they just, people didn't have jobs. It was bad.
yeah.
So what do you, okay, so
I'll
what
look
do
it
you, like looking something up on Chat GPT right now?
No,
Okay.
I'm just straight up Googling it. None of that Chat GPT for me.
Okay, from 29 to 39.
Yeah.
I always had it in my head that it was the 1920s, and then someone told me a while back it was really more the 30s, and so
Well, yeah. I mean, if it started in 1929, right? But that's a 10-year period. That's
right,
a long time.
right, and nobody wants that to happen
Yeah.
again. So
Well, and it's not just the money. We're made for work.
yeah,
Nobody wants to
oh,
feel
right,
like I don't have a place. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a job. Work should not be your identity, but there's great value in doing good work. And so I do think that's part of that problem as well, to feel like you're not needed.
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Men, especially, I've heard this for years, really, really identify their worth and value with what they do for a living.
Yeah.
And if you're good at it, and if you get paid a decent amount of money, you can provide for your family, you can support yourself. All those things are really important to a person's psyche and how they feel about themselves. And if you have a situation in our country where the amount of jobs that are even available gets greatly decreases, and a lot of people are just out of work very quickly, which is what a lot of people are saying and are kind of afraid of, that could be really bad. So we don't know that that's going to happen. I would like to discuss just for a minute another time in the history of our country that people were upset, and this doesn't actually get a lot of time, I don't think, in history books, but I know that it's true. When the automobile it was invented in the late 1800s, but then it became more and more common, and Henry Ford figured out how to make it relatively inexpensively, and it became something that a lot more people could afford, and he figured out how to make them on an assembly line quicker and easier, and therefore also less expensively. Well, no, people didn't need automobiles because they didn't exist. And
Right.
then they existed, but it's like, well, you know, do we really need that? I can get to where I work. I can, the world was just a different place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then it becomes a thing where they're affordable relatively, and there are a lot more of them, and everyone around you is getting one, and it opens up opportunities to have a job a little further away, to visit friends and family who are a little farther away, and you kind of go, well, I want one too. So what happened was, at one point, people started saying, well, this is going to ruin society, or at least a portion of it, because now, Hillary, there's no more need for people to raise horses.
Or at least not as many.
What's going to
right?
happen
We
to
still have
the
horses.
person that makes a living raising horses, because everybody needs access to a horse?
Right.
What's going to happen to the people who build carts and carriages? What's going to happen to the people who make saddles and the people that make horseshoes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
And to say we do have all of those things still in our society.
to a much
just
lesser degree.
Much, much lesser.
Yeah.
Right. So it did change. It didn't completely eliminate, but it did change forever how we would use those things.
Right.
Yeah.
But then what happened?
Well, I mean, it created a whole new industry,
Exactly.
and people had to learn how to fit into that industry.
Right.
Yeah.
The availability of factory jobs exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And people could then go get a job making seats for cars or making tires.
Now, was that more local? Like, we're familiar with Detroit, Motor City, and that automobile area.
To
So,
some extent,
yeah.
although we know from living in that area that there are facilities, not just in Detroit, but all over Michigan and northern Indiana and Ohio. There's a lot of places that make parts and then ship them in. And in fact, I drive a GMC pickup truck for my job for landscaping, and GMC and Chevy trucks are made in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So
Yeah, we passed by the factory and we were like, hello.
yeah, and I don't know where all the vehicles are made, but there are a lot of
Yeah.
vehicle plants throughout the United States. So it probably was more centralized and then spread out more.
Right.
But a lot of factory work became available. Then you have automobile dealerships opening up, and they need salespeople and secretaries. They need people who can repair these automobiles and change the oil and do service work. And so it opens up a lot more opportunities that are just different.
Yeah. Well, and really, would we have a Buc-ee's without that? I think that's the question we're really asking here.
Buc-ee's is selling a lot of gasoline
It is.
and a lot of beef jerky.
A lot of beef jerky.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's a cumulative effect. Like is that the word
Yeah.
I want? It does. It keeps spreading and spreading and adding and you don't really know where it's going to end.
Well, that's kind of my overall point, is that nature abhors a vacuum. And so when one thing comes in and changes the equation, with that, usually other opportunities arise.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not the one who's going to accurately predict everything that's going to happen, but I do think that in our society, when one thing takes away some jobs, that will create an opportunity for other types of jobs. And people do need to be adaptable.
It's hard. It's hard to see it sometimes. It's hard to adapt to it. It's hard to, especially if you're, I'm just going to say for myself, I'm older. I've done things a certain way for a long time. if my job got taken away, I think at this point it would be hard for me to say, oh, how do I adapt to that? How do I change? What do I, you know,
Yeah.
how do I go get the education I need to do a different thing? But there may be a lot of that happening.
Well, and we've both experienced that a little bit because we haven't done the same thing our entire work lives.
That's true.
Sometimes you do have to pivot and you do have to have a learning curve, and it can be painful, but
It can be. There can be tears.
yeah, yeah. But that doesn't mean that long term it's necessarily an overall bad thing.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
have to be adaptable and willing to accept that sometimes we can choose change and sometimes change is thrust upon us. And, I learned a long time ago that a lot of people don't like change. There's comfort in familiarity.
Well, and some people decided we are not going to adapt to the automobile. And I just
Well, that's
think
true.
about the whole Amish community. They decided we're not going to go along with the technology. We're not going to incorporate electricity. We're not going to use the things that society is creating.
Right.
We're going to stay within this certain framework that we feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's still true of a true Amish community. No electricity, no automobiles. They're still using horse and buggy. And so you could choose to not do that, but you will separate yourself from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Basically,
That's right.
to a large degree. Now we still interact with the Amish communities because they sell the things they create. So
Right.
yeah, but it's very limited, right?
Yeah.
To do that, but it could be done. It has been done.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I think going to call an audible. I'm looking at our time,
Okay.
and we still have some time, but we promised that we were going to talk a little bit, excuse me, about movies in this episode, and I think we need to skip to
Okay.
our topic where we say this is kind of a topic and a fear, but AI will take over.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we learned in the movies we watched.
The fear is that AI will be treated like a god or a dictator where its reasoning won't be analyzed or challenged. And whatever AI wants to do, it will just do, and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
Or it will be very, very difficult to stop it. So I think this is something that we do hear people talking about, and like you said, it was a big theme in some of the movies we watched, which we will get to very shortly. I wanted to just go ahead and address some of the parameters, how we should think about this as a society going forward, and we should be doing this already anyway, but we need to remember that no computer can take the place of human logic, sympathy, gut feelings, etc. There are some things you just can't program in, and I know that's part of the artificial intelligence. And I think all the way back to what was it, Star Trek Next Generation?
Okay. Yep.
With Data, who was a robot, but obviously played by a human. If you're familiar with that series, he looked like a human and acted like a human, a very logical, kind of weird human, except for his skin tone. But the idea was that was a form of AI, and that he had been trained to try to understand human emotions and all that stuff. I don't know that anyone will ever be able to make a computer program that can do that. So we also need to exercise the influence that we have with our votes and other things in order to keep AI in check, and to remember that some things are worth fighting for. And when I say fighting for, I mean go out of your way to work peaceably but enthusiastically to make sure that things don't get out of hand. You need to communicate with your elected officials, go to town meetings, vote, spread the word, make sure that you're expressing your concerns and that other people are thinking about this and hearing what you have to say about it.
Yeah. And again, it does seem a little overwhelming because it feels like things are moving quickly.
Right.
But we do need to be involved in the process of saying, okay, well, we have this technology now, but there probably should be some parameters, and we need to voice those concerns.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the movies that we watched. These are movies that two of them have been out there for a while, and we watched them since our last episode. And then we've got a third one that's current that we'll talk about a little bit too. But this is under the topic of AI will take over. So the first one that we watched and that we want to talk about was iRobot.
Yeah, so this was really good. We own this one. But I didn't realize it was
It's a
made in.
DVD. It's about this big, and there's a
I had to
machine
actually
you
get
can
it-
put it into.
I had to get out of my seat, go to the DVD, put it in.
Yeah.
So it's from 2004, but it's set in 2035.
Right. So 30 plus years in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, but I think it's still a good movie.
It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies. It has been for a long time. Will Smith is really great in this. This is Will Smith at his best, in my opinion. But he's the smart aleck protagonist. He's
Right.
really good at that.
Really good. Yep.
It's PG-13 and there's some language and whatnot. As we always tell people when we talk about movies, we don't necessarily approve of every single line or whatever. But
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good movie. The premise here is there's always throughout history there's always been a guy. It could be a male or female, but there's always that person who thinks if I could just be in charge.
Yep.
And if I could make sure everything goes the way that I think it should go, the world would be so much better.
Like a homeowners association, right? Like somebody that's
Yes.
I need
The
to tell everybody
homeowners
what to do.
Association president that
Yeah.
really thinks that you should be fined because your grass is a quarter
Yeah.
of an inch too long.
Think over the hedge. We've got that one.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah. Yeah, but in this movie, in iRobot, the guy who thinks he should take over the world is Vicky, the AI program that thinks she has seen enough information that she knows how things should go. And so logically,
Yep.
she should take over and make sure that we're safe.
Yeah, Vicky was originally designed to run USR, US Robotics, which is a robot factory in this future time in the movie, and but she gets a little out of control. This is a 20-plus-year-old movie, so if we give spoilers, we're not going to really
Yeah.
apologize for that. But if you
You've
haven't
had
seen
time.
it, you should watch it.
You've had time to watch this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you've had time.
you've had time.
But Vicky gets a little out of control, and she decides that she knows how she thinks things should be, and she's not afraid to hurt some people in order to make the world better for whoever's left after she makes her changes. And there's a lot of really good discussion material in this movie. It would be fun to watch it with people that you're close to, friends, family members, and then talk about it. You know, as a movie that's 22 years old, how does this apply to today, or even just it's not happening to this extent yet, but just a lot of things that you can talk about.
Well, even that idea that in the beginning, a lot of people are using the robots for really great purposes. And again, if you trust the programming, then you can trust the outcome.
Right.
But what happens if the people or the technology behind the programming has intentions that you don't like?
Yeah.
And so then that's where it becomes uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So now, do I think that technology can take over at this point? No, I don't. And I really appreciated what one of our listeners said, that they use AI to help write code, but it's kind of clunky, and then they go in and they have to clean it up. So I feel pretty good that we're not going to get taken over tomorrow. But is it possible that in the future it could become more sophisticated? I don't know that answer.
Well, it's good that we're talking about
That's why
it.
people are afraid of it,
Yeah.
because they don't know. And so if you're not in that line of work, it's easy to let your imagination go and think, oh no, they're gonna take over everything. But I think still that same principle applies. Somebody is behind the technology. Who's watching that person?
Yeah.
Who gets to say what they do or don't do?
Right.
So,
Well, another movie that we watched that's 20 some years old is Minority Report.
yeah. Wow. I forgot a lot of this movie.
Minority Report came out in 2002. Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Did he run in this? I think they talked about him
He
running.
runs in every movie. Even 24 years ago,
Yeah.
it was a thing.
Yeah.
And he even talked about
They
it.
made jokes about it.
And yeah,
I didn't know it'd been a lot. I didn't know it had been a joke that long.
it's hilarious.
That's a good one.
He's always running. So Minority Report was set over 50 years into the future. And in Minority Report, there's not really artificial intelligence per se, but they have what is called precogs for precognitives, which is a creative way of saying these are people that can see the future.
Yep.
And the way they can see the future is pretty specifically that they are like, they have dreams of
Dreaming,
future murders. They don't see all crime, but they see future murders. And the premise of the movie is that they're never wrong.
They
And
might be
so-
taking too much B12 because when I take too much B12, like you can get
Very
some wonky
vivid dreams.
But these are
Wow.
worse. These are worse. Pretty dark, gritty. Yeah.
So really quickly, just if you haven't seen this movie or if you haven't seen it in a while, it's kind of dark and gritty. Parts of it are almost like live action comic book kind of action. Some things are pretty exaggerated.
Some things are gross.
Parts of it,
Yeah.
are kind of gross, and there are some very startling
Yeah.
times. And so if you're really sensitive to any of that stuff, then it might not be for you.
I must have blocked a lot of this out
Yeah.
because I didn't remember all of that.
But it is PG-13. If you like a good thriller where you're not really sure what's going to happen, and none of the stuff we just said bothers you,
Yeah.
then if you haven't seen it or if you haven't seen it in a while, I would recommend it under those conditions. But again, if you think of the precognitives as a substitute for AI, in that movie, their ability to see the future is treated as infallible.
Right.
And so we start with a scene of a murder that they see, and the authorities try to get there in time to stop it. And everything plays out pretty much exactly the way they foresee it. And Tom Cruise's character, John Anderton, just in the nick of time, is able to stop the crime from being committed. And then when the would-be perpetrator knows that he's been caught, the very first thing they say is, "What? I wasn't going to actually do it." Because in this world, you can be charged with pre-murder. I forget exactly how they say it, but if you don't commit it,
Right.
but the precogs saw it, you can be arrested and charged as if you really actually did it. And in case you haven't seen it recently, the way that they are, we'll say, jailed is creative and not good.
Not good.
It's not
But-
something you want.
But do you remember we find out that the precogs actually are fallible,
Right.
but that information
Again,
gets,
it's a 24-year-old movie. You had
time. You
a
had
chance.
time. But the precogs, they are fallible, and they do occasionally show that they're not 100% getting this right. But people hide those things because they want it to be so like trusted and absolute. So they're not really willing to show you the flaws in it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really interesting that they want so badly for this to be the way they solve crime that they're willing to commit crimes to ensure that they can keep doing this for the greater good.
Right.
So
one more spoiler, and then I'm also going to tell you that even with the spoilers that we're giving, if you're still going, oh, I got to watch that or I got to watch it again, there's some pretty cool twists in there that we hadn't seen it in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, I forgot that. It's a well done movie.
yeah,
But the spoiler is the kind of the conclusion that the movie comes to is you do have a choice.
Yes.
And is trusting the precogs, a substitution for AI, as infallible beings that whatever they predict, we have the right to punish people for things that they haven't even done. Is that really good? Is that really working? Is that fair to people who haven't actually committed a crime? And so, yeah, you have a choice.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, one more. We're going to be quick. We know we're kind of running out of our allotted time, but we did see one recently in the theater before Ice-Pocalypse.
We got to be careful on this one because what if they want to see it?
Well, we do try not to give spoilers on current movies.
That's right. We'll try.
So we're going to give you the premise and talk a little bit about it. It's called Mercy. The premise is that Detective Chris Raven wakes up clamped to a chair in front of an AI judge. Judge Maddox is an AI program which acts as judge, jury, and executioner. Detective Raven has 90 minutes to prove his innocence for a crime that he doesn't even realize he's committed if he did.
Right.
He doesn't even know that this has happened. But if he can't prove his innocence in 90 minutes, he's going to be executed on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, I was so excited to see this. There are some really great actors. Chris Pratt is Detective Raven. Rebecca Ferguson is Judge Maddox. And really, it's a very limited area where they film, like the stage area.
A lot of the movie happens in the interaction between Chris Pratt's character and Rebecca Ferguson, who plays the AI judge.
But then they also include a lot of access to
Yes.
footage and any kind of information that would be available digitally to the judge. Detective Raven can have access to that to try to prove his innocence. So
Well,
a
and
lot of images.
I'm not sure they told us when this takes place, but it is in the future far enough that this is a thing, and there are cameras everywhere.
I think I did see it on one of the photos that they used for
Okay.
the image generation, but I can't remember.
But it wasn't that far in the future.
It's not. No, it's
So, but you're right. Whoever's been accused of a crime does have access to video footage. They can call people. They can try to plead their case. They can try to find evidence. It's a very interesting concept. In the movie, this mercy court, which is what they call it, is based on the belief that most criminals are probably guilty, and if not, they should be able to prove their innocence pretty quickly and pretty easily, which is a very naive assumption.
well, and I thought it was interesting that we always in this nation we are innocent until proven guilty,
That's right.
and they have flipped it, guilty
Yeah.
until proven innocent, which
Yeah.
is horrifyingly frightening.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you wake up accused of a crime you didn't even know happened and have no memory of, you only have 90 minutes to prove
Right.
that you're innocent.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, we thought it was entertaining. It's pretty clean. It's PG-13. If that seems interesting to you, we do recommend it. I think it's probably going to be in theaters for a little bit longer. And depending on when you're watching this video, I'm sure you'll be able to find it somewhere and stream it. I will say, from a movie reviewer perspective, Minority Report, although dark and gritty, is very well made, and iRobot is very well made. Those are both top shelf movies. This one's like a notch or a notch and a half down. I would give it, from the movie making perspective, I would say it's an A minus B plus. We see a lot of movies. Maybe we're kind of snobbish in that regard. But I did read some reviews where other people said the same thing, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And if you find this whole topic interesting, I think that you might enjoy it. We both enjoyed it.
I thought it was creative.
Yeah.
And I actually really like that they pulled it down to like a smaller space. I think it's harder to
Where a lot of the movie was just shot in this room. Where,
yes. I think that's harder to do, and I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, it was. It was. Last thing I want to say about this is that the court, as I already did mention, was called the Mercy Court, and that just kept kind of bugging me a little bit. And
It didn't feel like there was a lot of mercy
exactly,
in the court.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I needed to reacquaint myself with a specific thing from the Bible. And with a little research after I got home, I saw in Leviticus 16, we read where the mercy seat was a part of the Ark of the Covenant where blood was sprinkled on the Day of Atonement in order to cover the sins of Israel.
Yeah.
And even though they didn't call it the mercy seat, it was the mercy court, and the alleged perpetrator was in a seat, clamped in the seat and not able to move. And the form of death did not necessarily include blood if a proposed perpetrator got that far, but it was just a lot of correlation. I thought that part of it was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, and as you're saying that, I'm just going to say again, I am thankful that we do have to face a judge, and that he is perfect. He perfectly knows what you have or have not done,
That's right.
have not said. And not only that, he has spilled his own blood to cover your sins
Yeah,
and to pay for any penalty.
that's right.
And so this was frightening to watch, but only because it's a movie and it's supposed to be. But
Yeah.
but in reality, we have a judge that we can trust who knows everything.
And as long as you understand that you've sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, you can accept Jesus' free gift of salvation from
Absolutely.
those sins,
Yeah.
so that when you do face the judge after this life, that you can spend eternity with him in heaven. And so we encourage you to do that if you've not done it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we got more to say.
We do. We have more to say. We have more stuff, and we always knew this was going to be a several episode topic. We're having fun talking about AI, and we hope you're having fun being a part of it. We will check in with you in next time in episode 54, where we will continue discussing
Right? Or
AI.
year 2, episode 2.
That's so
Right?
good. I'm so proud of you.
Maybe I can do this.
You can. You can. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys. And hopefully we're not still skating around on ice by our next episode. But for now, we're David and Hillary, and we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
All right, see ya.